Time now for the first installment of a segment that we're calling My Turn. Well, tonight we feature Phil Reisman and he's unfiltered. Local journalists, they're going to talk about issues that are close to their hearts and of interest to us all. Well, Phil's upset this week about Governor Andrew Cuomo naming the new Tappan Zee Bridge after his father, the late Mario Cuomo, the first Governor Cuomo. He doesn't like the way that it was done, the message it sends, or pretty much anything about it. Phil is a radio talk show host at WVOX, and before that, longtime Journal News columnist. And he's in our studios now giving us a piece of his mind.
Mario Cuomo, the 52nd governor of the state of New York, once asked if there was anything he would like to be named after. Cuomo modestly replied, yes, a stickball court in Queens. That's all I deserve. Cuomo hailed from Queens. As an attorney, he practiced law in Queens. He was even a minor league baseball player. So it made sense, a stickball court. It was as if Cuomo was saying, my public service speaks for itself. No need for any grandiose memorial. Well, what happened? Just before the big 4th of July weekend, Cuomo's son Andrew, the current governor, called back the state legislature for a special session to vote on some unfinished business, mostly routine, boring stuff. But slipped in at the last minute was an additional item near and dear to Governor Cuomo's heart, to wit, that the Tappan Zee replacement bridge, currently under construction, will be named after his late father, Mario Cuomo. Some stickball court. It was a slick move, rubber-stamped and codified by a legislative body, a confederacy of dunces, mountebanks, and poltroons. It all took place well after midnight when a lot of slick moves are made in Albany. This made a lot of people angry, particularly those who are not fans of Andrew Cuomo. Objections were loud and often partisan. Some said this had nothing really to do with Mario Cuomo, but was all about Andrew's huge ego, his desire to put the family name on a highly visible monument, making it, in effect, a campaign advertisement for the 2020 presidential election. And by the way, if you think Andrew Cuomo has no desire to be president, then I have a bridge in Brooklyn I'd like to sell you. Other people thought the new bridge should be named after somebody else, like Pete Seeger, the folk singer, or the Roosevelts, Franklin and Eleanor. The most poignant voice to be heard came from Catherine Wilson Conroy, the daughter of the late Malcolm Wilson, a longtime Yonkers politician who served briefly as governor and whose name was attached to the old bridge in 1994. That year, it was ceremoniously redubbed the Malcolm E. Wilson Tappan Zee Bridge. And you know who recommended that Wilson be so honored? That's right, then Governor Mario Cuomo. A lot of people have said, enough with this habit of naming public structures after politicians, especially since it's the public that foots the bill. In the case of the bridge over the Hudson River, we're talking in the neighborhood of $4 billion, and as yet an undetermined increase in tolls. The name Tappan Zee was good enough for the old bridge, and it should be good enough for the new bridge. Many have vowed that they will forever call the new span the Tappan Zee Bridge, no matter what Andrew Cuomo wants to call it. But let's give some credit to the governor. In an era when roads and bridges all over America are falling apart, the new bridge between Tarrytown and Nyack constitutes a major accomplishment of engineering. It's real. It will carry real cars and real trucks and will benefit real people. It is not a bridge to nowhere. It's genuine infrastructure. So whatever you call the new bridge, it at least delivers what it promises. Unlike those strange signs on the Taconic Parkway that beckon drivers to visit Donald J. Trump State Park, a weed-covered, graffiti-splattered piece of property that because of budget cuts was never developed for recreational use. Talk about fake news. You know what? We could do worse than name a bridge after Mario Cuomo. I mean, how does the Elliott Spitzer Client 9 bridge sound? Or how about naming the bridge after Edward Hyde, aka Lord Cornbury, the arrogant royal British governor from the early 1700s, a prolific plunderer of the public treasury who had a propensity for wearing women's clothing and insisted on being called His High Mightiness. Personally, I joined the chorus who preferred the old name, the Tappan Zee, which cynics say translates to mean hold on to your wallet, but actually combines the name of an Indian tribe Tappan with the Dutch word Z for sea. Mario Cuomo said he would settle for a stickball court in Queens, and that sounds about right. But naming a massive bridge after him? Please. I'm reminded of something a wise man observed many years ago. He said, and I quote, "Every time I've done something that doesn't feel right, it's ended up not being right." And that wise man was none other than Mario Cuomo. Andrew, listen to your father.
Thank you, Phil. Coming up next, everyone, former Urban League president Hugh Price. He joins us to discuss his decades-long fight for civil rights and his new book called This African American Life.